Welcome to the Society Sucks podcast, guys. In today's episode, we're going to talk to Harvey about why he hates Mondays. He wakes up, he says, fuck it, Sunday, fuck Mondays.
Oh, man. Yeah, I did not say that. But that is a topic, though, as to why people despise Mondays so much.
Why? What do you think, Harvey? let's get some theories going.
Okay, first theory is that, the weekend is now over. And your work week has officially started.
Man. Oh, man.
And not only that, but perhaps your workout regimen with the waking up early has started.
That's
the work,
true.
You have to go to work, that's got started.
Your responsibilities are coming back to you.
Come back, because you threw them away on the weekend, and now you're coming back.
See, but I think it's bad if we start to see it like that already. Straight off the bat, if you see, at the end of the week, I have no responsibilities, go crazy, do whatever you need to. Oh, man, responsibilities on Monday again.
Yeah.
I think it's already a bad, feedback loop that you're feeding into.
Yeah, and constantly, too, And then you remind yourself of why you were stressed in the first place. You're like, oh, dang, there's stuff I got to do. There's things I'm worried about. Monday signifies the beginning of that, and that kind of sucks. So I hate Mondays. Mondays are shitty.
Dude, that's insane.
Not me, though. I'm quoting people.
Yeah, you're quoting.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm sure everyone has experienced. Maybe you've been that person at a point, or you've heard someone just, they despise Mondays.
Yeah.
I think the underlining is, are they not happy with whatever they're have to do, on the beginning of the week, or is it just like a vibe? What do you think exactly it would be?
Yeah, because I think it's they're choosing to, right? Or no, they feel like they have to, but it's still their choice, right? So maybe, I think the most common one is they have to go back to work on Monday, right?
Yeah.
That's the most common one I've heard and I've seen. It's like, oh, well, time to go back into work on Monday. And then it starts again.
Mm-hmm.
And because you have to go to work, you have to wake up a little early. You have to do other things.
Yeah.
And then it just has this whole thing of like, oh, I got to wake up early, got to go to work, got to come back, hit the gym. Not looking forward to that, so therefore Monday sucks. And maybe that Monday starts the rest of the week off on a bad note, and then you're only looking forward to that Friday night, and then it's back all over again.
Oh, man.
So like you said, it literally is a loop. It's a loop.
Yeah, it's a loop. I know everyone, or maybe, I don't know if you have, tell me if you have, Harvey. Have you seen that diagram of like a man kind of pushing the ball of like stone? It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then he goes back down,
Oh, and he's on a bicycle?
I think he's on a bike, actually, yeah.
Oh,
he's like, at a point, he's like riding it, smoothly down the weekend, like, boom, just quickly going down, and then now...
And struggling to climb back up.
He can't even go up he has to carry it, so he's walking now with it, and then it gets to like Friday, so you're at the top of the hill, and then he gets on the bike and just goes fast down, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he feels like, oh man, I gotta go up again,
Yeah.
I think that's like a very, visual description of
the week.
What it could tend to feel like if
true.
you do despise, the beginning of the week. And I think we're here to not only just emphasize the bad and the mistakes and what we shouldn't do or what we wouldn't want you to do, right? Because I think that starts... you want to start the week on a positive note instead of a negative one.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some practical ways you say that they could counteract the Monday blues?
Dang, the Monday blues, but to counteract them? Well, we got to identify the cause of the Monday blues. Because it's not the Monday. For some people, maybe their rest day's on a Monday. Maybe they don't work on it. Are they suddenly happy about the Mondays?
You're right.
So, what is the cause of it? Is it your job? Is it the waking up early? I think there needs to be a paradigm shift, Well, first of all, if you can't change your job, if you can't go find something that you want to do, then change it to like, oh, I get to work today. I'm able to work today. I have the capabilities. I have, I'm able to. That's one thing. And this allows me to buy the things that I want and live where I want and do these things. And, that's how you put up with it. That's how you put up with stuff because you know that it's going towards something good.
Yeah.
But I do recommend, though, if you do honestly despise your job and you can't see yourself working there, that needs a change because life's going to pass by. You're going to be stuck there.
I agree too, and I think maybe it's not even Mondays that are the problem. Maybe it's like what you're saying, that the external things. But I also do think that's one practical tip. Change that talk that you have with whatever thing is associated with the feeling of dread towards whatever task it is that you have to do in the beginning of the week.
Yeah, that's true.
I think another one would definitely be having things to look forward to. Maybe on a Monday.
Yeah, like what are you doing at the end of the day?
Yeah, first beginning of the week, but movie is a thing that I go do, or hang out with a friend, hang out with someone, go out to eat, you do a little trail, something that you do that you don't do the rest of the week, but that gets you in a momentum building, positive kind of facing point to take on your week. Because we're trying to build momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, build momentum. Build sustainable practices that you can do. One thing I realized too is that maybe it's not that I
despise
last
Mondays.
year. It's not that I despise Mondays, but I was sad that the weekend ended.
Yeah.
But now it's gone to the point where I've reframed my mind to see it as like I'm excited for Monday because I'm ready to make these calls. I'm ready to get on it. I'm ready to get back to work because I'm working towards something that's bigger than myself. Like I have a why. I have a strong why as to why I need to do these things. So I'm looking forward to my Monday because it's like there are things. So the weekdays, right? Business days. There's things I'm able to do during those days that I can't do on the weekends because people aren't working. There's no one at the office. Can't call. Can't get work done. So it's got its trade-off. But there's also things on the weekdays that I can't do that I can do on the weekends, and so that's why that has its respective spot.
That's true.
So that's why I look forward to the weekend because there's more free time. There's more stuff to do. It's like more schedules line up on those days. Mm-hmm. But then I'm also looking forward to the Monday because there's things I wasn't able to do the past 2 days that I'm now able to get back to working on and back to doing, and so it's I don't know. It's like I'm on a mission. It feels like I'm on a mission. And I get to start it back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what kind of. I think that's like a switch of paradigm, like a reframing of the mind. Because I don't see the work that I do as like work and like I have to do it. It just seems like, this is what I want to do because I need to. Well, I have to do it in order to get what I want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And I think definitely is a major contributor to allowing that shift in mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because first being able to do what you want, then emphasizing that. On top of that, I think the main emphasis is trying to shift the mindset of, sad weekend's over. Now let me hype myself up. It's a new beginning of the week. A new chance. Every day, we did say this previously, that a new day is a new opportunity. But I guess you could see, your weekend as farewell to that week, and take the new week as a new beginning, new opportunity. This week you could make the biggest decision of your life that can change the course of your life.
Mm-hmm.
This week you can do something different that you've always said you were going to do, and you can finally say to yourself that you did it. You can accomplish whatever goal it was. Because if you were stuck in that weekend, would your goals ever be accomplished?
That's true too.
Would anything that you wanted to do ever get done?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I guess there's a trade-off too, right? What do you think?
No, yeah, that's the trade-off, and that's how I see it as too. Is like when you have certain practices built around your weekdays or your weekly schedules, it's like you can go ahead and get started right back on that. Get started right where you left off.
Yeah.
So like maybe you have like a gym routine that you surround yourself with. A type of class that you show up to that day. Certain things that you have that you look forward to because it's like, this is for my greater good. That's an extra day I get to go to the gym and get, one step closer to my dream body, one step closer to that skill I want to build, and you look forward to that because it's like you've set, it's not just, I got to go to work now. Now it's like, okay, as soon as work is done, I have these practices built around maybe before work, maybe after work, and I have these things going on that support that, allow me to have, better output. So I think it's about also finding practices and not just associating weekdays with work and business.
See, that's true too.
Your career, like focus on like what supporting practices do I have around that. Like today, for you and me, it's not just going to be work and podcasting today.
Yeah,
it's going to be jiu-jitsu as well.
Jiu-jitsu too.
It's the gym before this. It's the meals that we get to eat. You know, so there's a lot of things that support us rather than just letting our work day drag us by and like, oh man, bro, we're going to have to go to Taco Bell and get a quick bite to eat, and oh man, come back home and just be, you know, sluggish and just be like, oh well, done with work for the day. Now I have to sit on the couch.
It really is like the day's dragging you too, huh?
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what a lot of people tend to feel. You know, weekend, you know, you might have a little too much fun, and then you might sleep a little later, right? And then you might wake up not feeling the best, but you could also see it as, okay, now I didn't wake up the best, but now I'm trying to still implement whatever I need to. Or you can acknowledge that, okay, maybe I'm not going to get enough sleep, you know, that Sunday for Monday. But maybe the days that you can control that, you know, dial in on that. Like you're saying, that's a supporting thing that's going to help to, you know, increase your productivity, increase your mood, increase how you feel, you know, day to day, how you're interacting with people.
Yeah.
If maybe that day before, you know, that week's about to start that you seem to dread, if you just had a great night's sleep, you know, that could be an aid, right? You know, you're talking about jiu-jitsu and us emphasizing podcasts. You know, maybe someone needs to emphasize just getting those hours of sleep in.
Yeah,
and I think we were talking about this off the podcast and how important, you know, emphasizing that sleep does and how it can change your life. And maybe that might be like, you know, because I think one thing too that we tend to see a lot on social media and we tend to see a lot of people talk about is just like emphasizing, you know, maybe some people don't even emphasize sleep, right? But now we are slowly starting to realize the importance of it and why you need to emphasize it. And, you know, I think we were talking about, you know, there's people that emphasize like not sleeping, right? To work, to put more work, to double down.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that definitely has a lot to counteract to, like, yeah, you can feel good and get more done, but it's also like long-term sustainability.
Yeah. Long-term, I don't think you can get more done like that.
Definitely not, huh?
I really don't. Like, at the expense of your own health, like, you're going to end up paying for that later.
Yeah. And
then you justify it with, like you said, getting more work done. And then because you lacked so much sleep the night before, you have to, you know, get yourself on some caffeine and constantly load up on that. And then there's an extra expense added that you could get for free on your own bed and focus on sleep. And then you say, oh, well, I don't sleep good. And then you have the caffeine that helps that and supports that theory that you've convinced yourself of. And, you know, you make all these excuses up and you're depriving yourself of our body's only ability to recover and to literally regenerate and, you know, all these things. So, like, sleeping literally is, you know, our superpower. We're meant to, you know, dedicate time to that.
It really is.
And respect that and give ourselves that time and space necessary to recover fully, regardless of work. You know, you shouldn't build your sleep schedule around your work. It should be the other way around. That's the foundation. You know, get those 8 hours, that third of your day gone, dedicated towards recharging. The other two-thirds of your day, you know, crunch in that time and figure out where you can manage your time better so you don't have to sacrifice your sleep to do what you have to do. Because I'm pretty sure there's wasted time going somewhere, trickling away somewhere on your screen time.
Facts.
Trickling away somewhere with something social going on. There's things out there for sure that can get worked on.
You know, and I think it's something that we need to emphasize too, that you're reminding me now what I was going to emphasize on my previous point is that we tend to see a lot of, you know, quick this or do this instant energy, do this boost energy, do this, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, maybe you just need to dial in the basics, right? You know, like we need to focus on this, right? Sun, sleep, water. You know, what else would you say?
Good food. Healthy food.
Oh, healthy, nutritious, strong food for sure.
You know, like so many people lack, and it really does come down to discipline. This isn't a matter of time. Yeah, some people really lack the discipline to go home and cook themselves up a meal.
That's so true.
And then, you know, I think the reason people don't stick to it, though, is because they don't give it the time. That they just think, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. And that something ends up being bland and tasteless.
Man.
Like, oh, well, I tried cooking. I'd rather go out and get a meal that's already made for me. And you get something cheap and you're fucking up your health. But take the time to learn to cook something good. Find a recipe, find something, and actually nail that thing down so you don't have to be looking at the recipe. And just cook it, and that's your go-to, and you know how to make it, or even meal prep. You know,
meal prepping. I was gonna mention that. You know,
so like different things like that you can do. But stop with the excuse of like, I just don't know how to cook. I don't have time to cook. You have time, you know, and you're disrespecting your body, passing by the McDonald's drive-thru all the time just to get something quick and easy to make. It's just it really does take discipline at first, because after that's so easy. Right now, after we finish the podcast, I'm gonna go inside, cook myself up a meal, and eat.
Exactly.
You know, that's not something I hate or not look forward to. That's just something that I've taught myself. I need to eat something.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm gonna might as well make sure I make it good.
And make it good, and that's the thing. I think that's a balance too that people need to realize. Like, you can eat good, healthy food, and it doesn't have to be so time consuming either. I think that's a misconception with cooking, that it has to take forever. And I guess to tie back to the main point, which is these are ways that you can easily. I think it would be easy if you were to really start to focus on it. It could feel like it's easy, but it does take time to get into the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
So it could become easy. I think it's about focusing on increasing all these attributes that we want positive, and I think you'll seem to just get away from, oh fuck Monday, to, oh, I'm dialed in sleeping, I'm dialed in with drinking at least a gallon of water, I'm emphasizing eating healthy and just getting some sunlight or exercise, any form. And for some reason now Monday doesn't even seem so bad.
Exactly.
If anything, I'm ready for the week. I'm excited for the week. And it doesn't have to contribute to any of that. Maybe it's just your body and your basic human needs need to be fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. Starting with the fundamentals, like we said.
With the fundamentals,
sun, water, healthy food, and sleep. That's it. Those are your fundamentals. You don't have to go and get the quick easy fix. What you need is to fix is the way you view things. Like you said, people think healthy food is like bland, gross, and time consuming. People think sleep is overrated and that you need to
just stay up
and work, and that's when sleep is a fundamental. It's not optional. You need to get that dialed in. And so all these things too, people are boxed in their offices, not even getting sunlight, boxed in warehouses, doing whatever, not getting enough sunlight. And so there's all these things that need to be dialed in first. And then I bet you your week is going to go by a lot smoother. Once you have these fundamentals down, you can tackle on whatever issues you have later. And I think also the main reason why, or one of the reasons why people don't like that Monday that's coming up or that week that's coming up, is because they feel like they lack control. Like it's not up to them. When you chose that job, you chose what practices before and after. You chose
major key alert.
Yeah, and like you think that it's gonna be, you think that you're dragged by it, right? But it's your choice, and accept that it's your choice, and that I'm choosing to do what I'm about to do today.
This is huge right now.
That's it.
You're right, because I think you're kind of trickling into accountability.
It's that
you need to be accountable, guys. You need to realize, like, hey, you have a side to this too. You're kind of choosing this, you're deciding on this. No one's forcing you.
No.
But you can also decide to do good for yourself before anything.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you have a time period where work takes part of it. Build your routine around that. Okay, I'm not available for this amount of hours. Okay, what can I do before? What can I do after? To optimize my mood, to optimize how I'm feeling, to get what I need done for myself. And then building up from there. And I think a sense of accountability within yourself is where a lot of this starts to come to, for you to start to realize, right?
Yeah, and I bet you that'll reestablish a lot of the control that you feel like you have, because if you have practice set before and after, these things are definitely up to you, and well, your job is as well. But if you chose this job and it's gonna take up 8 hours of your day, okay, you have another 8 hours of that day to do what you need to get done, to do the things that you want to do, and it's up to you to fit these time slots with things that benefit you and things that help you out. So that should be able to reestablish at least some kind of control for you to hold back on, be like, oh, you know what, I'm not being dragged by the day because I have this afterwards.
One thing too, actually, I feel like lessen feeling like Monday is the worst is planning your day out before. Maybe you don't even need to do it for the whole week, but maybe you feel like you struggle a little more on Monday, maybe you need structure. Maybe that's what you need.
Structure.
Get a piece of paper, time management. Write, okay, time I'm waking up, next, okay, breakfast or whatever you're doing, bathroom things, then leading to work. Now you're okay. Now you cut out that excuse of, I don't know, I have enough time, I work, now you got this telling you, hey, you're literally showing yourself you have the time. Now you have the choice whether you want to stick to it or not.
It's up to you.
It's up to you, and I think this is one way to not only let yourself know all these excuses that I'm telling myself to make myself feel better are not true, and these right here are something that I can do. That it's maybe gonna make me feel a little uncomfortable, and that's okay because I'm becoming better.
Exactly.
And I think we need to emphasize that Mondays aren't bad. It's just about, what do you see? I don't know exactly how I would describe it. It really is the perspective of the Monday. Monday could be, I'm writing, okay, I'm going to get this all done Monday. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Or, fuck, I don't know what to do Monday. What's Monday? Fuck.
Monday's just work. That's the only thing that usually people have, that schedule that someone tells them to do. And I think, I don't know if we've had this conversation before, but I think it stems from, it's almost like you feel chained to this job because you're willing to put up with it for the sake of some kind of structure. And when your employer decides the structure for you, that's the major difference. Because all your life, right, throughout the schooling system, up until the time you graduate, you've had someone tell you where to be, when to go, where to go. You're used to someone else making the structure for you. And you're just dragging along, with barely any consciousness in you. You just say, oh, gotta be here this time. Second period, third period, fourth period, everything's in little blocks. Your day's scheduled out. You need to be exactly where you need to go. You show up on time. So you're there. Very robotic-like, but whatever. Either way, you're used to the structure. Then you get right back out. And now you're like, fuck, well, out into the real world, where's my structure now? So maybe you go through periods where maybe you don't have a job, maybe you do have a job. When you don't have a job, you feel very lost, confused, and scared. You're like, oh no, what's going on? What's happening here? I'm not used to this. So you put up with perhaps the shittier jobs. You put up with places that you're not meant to be, that diminish your potential, all for the sake of some kind of structure, because you feel like you're going somewhere with that. Because school has you feeling like, oh, when you're in elementary school, right, the thing you're looking forward to is middle school. Damn, we're gonna be big boys right here, adults, right?
That's true.
And then middle school, you look forward to, oh damn, we're gonna be high schoolers, as if that was some big deal. We're gonna be freshmen. And then, everything's leading up all the way up to the point of graduation. You graduate high school. But you're not finished there, bud. Then there's college for something. And then if you go through the college system, then there's your job. And then climb that corporate ladder, bud, all the way up until your 60s. And, just like that, retired. Now I have the rest of my life free. And that's why you hear about that midlife crisis thing going on, where somewhere in between you're realizing you're approaching that age, and you're like, oh, whoa, what's going on here?
Wait, what have I been doing?
What have I been doing? Is this really what I want to be doing? And you start to question your whole existence. But that's what happens when you get dragged by your life. When you literally can't be disciplined with yourself.
That's true.
When you have no structure for yourself. You need someone else to constantly make something for you. And that's why there's very few people who are willing to make that structure for themselves and willing to hold themselves accountable when no one else is willing to, because they've adopted that mindset into themselves. They're not out here depending on a teacher, depending on the principal, depending on their professor, and then, depending on their employer. These are people that are very comfortable going outside these norms, these established systems, workplace or at the school place, and they're willing to do this to themselves based on their own goals. Yes. Athletes is a good example. Actors and actresses are good examples, So you have these people that, they have their training regimens, but they're choosing to, right? Like, where am I going to dedicate the rest of my time in,
Yeah.
So it's like all these little practices that they've set for themselves, these people that are very high performers, great accomplishments, successful people, they're willing to give themselves some kind of routine, some kind of regimen, some kind of schedule. You look at these people, you probably look at their vlogs, perhaps C-Bum or something, you look at Chris Bumstead, you look at his schedule, maybe he's hired coaches, right? That's something that he's willing to do, but point is, he's willing to put up with some kind of regimen, some kind of schedule, because he's allowed it, he's put it in place into his own life.
That's the difference for sure. That's a good point to bring up, because I think the major thing too is there's structured, because maybe he has like a set time where he blocks out time for just work, right? And then he can tell himself, okay, well, after this I can either just kind of get home and relax, chill, watch a show, maybe not do much, and then the next day just happens. You kind of just float. Or you could take the initiative and be like, okay, I'm out of my time restricted moment, now let me do what I want to do with this time that I have now, in order to continue to build on to maybe hopefully not have to go to that job anymore. Not have to have a time restricted place. Now you have been building something on the side the whole time, because you decided, okay, instead of right after I get out of work to just hang out, chill, rest up. You decide, okay, now I'm going to actually put emphasis into maybe a passion project you've been putting off, emphasizing some mindfulness time that you've been needing. Like these are the moments where you take back all, the moment where you couldn't have because you've been restricted for time.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you a sense of control over your life. It makes you feel good. It makes you like, I actually have things to look forward to. I'm telling myself to do these things.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, like you said, because let's say your schedule's completely blank and free, right? You have 7 days out of your week completely available. All right, let's go and start chopping off what needs to be done. So a third of your day. Well, let's take from the week down to the day. This day is going to be repeated for the most part, the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So you have your day, a third of your day gone for sleep, right? So we have 24 hours, 8 of them are gone. You got 16 hours left of the day, right? And then you say, well, I need a job, right? We need jobs. We're going to get a job. 40-hour work week, 8 hours a day, another 8 hours chopped.
That's another 8 hours chopped.
So that's 16 hours out of your day gone. You have 8 hours remaining, right? Or maybe a little less because maybe the drive to and from, or other responsibilities, picking up kids,
you never know what life can throw at you.
Whatever. So let's take an extra hour off or stuff like that. So now you have 6 hours maybe of your day before you have to go back to sleep again. So this is where time management comes in. And you have to structure yourself at this point. Because granted, you did choose your job to take up 8 hours of your day. Whether you want to admit it or not, that was a choice that you made. No one's forcing you to do this. No one's holding up a gun to your head and say, pick that specific job. So don't feel like, oh, it's because, man, the system's fucked up. I shouldn't be working 40 hours a week and barely being able to pay. This is your responsibility. Regardless of how the system is right now, you're choosing to make that choice. We always go back to, there's people that have been in a worse position than you and still made it out because they made the choices that got them into a better position. They gave themselves a better chance at succeeding. So anyway, you chose that job, that takes up 8 hours of your day. So you have, in a way, chosen that time block to get dedicated to your employer. And then your employer decides what happens within that 8 hour time block, and he divides that up for you. So that's nice of him to do, right? But either way, you gave those 8 hours up to an employer. So you chose that. That's a choice. You chose that. But now you have those 6-7 hours left at the end of your day to work around that and structure that yourself. Now you're going to divide that into time blocks and do things that you want to do. Maybe you want to learn a martial arts. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you're taking online courses. Maybe you're working on something, like you said, to get you out of that position where you feel like you have to work. So you have that choice to do all those things, or are you going to just let all that be a blur? Work has been done. That is my obligation. I'm going to get back home and chill. I'm going to eat away at some Doritos, at some whatever leftovers from the last 4 days. And then I'm just going to sit down and watch some TV, play some video games, and waste away. And then complain about the fact that I have to go back to work tomorrow morning and do the same thing again and repeat. So you lack structure and discipline to actually look at your day and say, what needs to be done during this free time that I've given myself? Because that's your choice. You get to choose what happens during each single one of those hour blocked times. And maybe you don't have to be so specific down to the minute, but you should at least have some kind of to-do list, a kind of checklist of what is going to get me closer to my goal. What's actually going to get me there if I complete this, just a little bit. Maybe you want to start some kind of fitness page, some kind of maybe make workouts for people. Maybe that's what you want to do, right? Okay, well, 1 or 2 hours, probably 1.5, needs to be dedicated towards the gym. You need to be at the gym at the time, working hard. Next hour of that needs to be making your meal, planning, doing things like that. Figuring out some kind of thing to do with your nutrition. And then, you still have 4 or 5 hours left for other things, This isn't to say you don't have leisure time, but at least know where your leisure time is going to be.
That's true.
Know where from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. your leisure time is dedicated. Is it going to be right after work? Is it going to be at the end of the day? Like, where is your stuff going to go?
Major facts.
So you got to know where that leisure time is. We're not saying don't have leisure time, don't have relaxation time, don't have time for relaxing and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or entertainment. Just know, when is this going to start? When do I give myself the entertainment portion of my day? Is it going to be the last 3 hours? Is it going to be the first 3 hours as soon as I get up out of bed, or right after work? And know when it's time. So that way you fully immerse yourself in it. That way you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to be complaining, oh, I did what I had to do. and I can go and play a little video game, watch a little movie.
See, and that's
go out for dinner, whatever it is. But at least now you have your day structured.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge part of, being diligent, right? And having that structure. You're letting yourself know, okay, I got these things to do. All right, now I did things for work, obligation, things that I wanted to do for myself, choice, and you did. So, pat on the back, good for you. Now you can hang out. There is a thing where you have to reward yourself for the work. You're right. We were emphasizing this too. This is how you're going to continue to want to do these things. Otherwise, you're just going to feel shitty the rest of your life just because, okay, I'm going to get this done. But am I actually even, enjoying this?
Yeah.
Even there's going to be points, right, though, we can acknowledge this, too, where it's going to feel shitty either way. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's points where, today might not be a day where you need leisure time. Maybe you're getting close to finishing up and you need to just finish up.
Yeah.
And you decide, okay, today I'm not going to take some leisure time, and that's where moments that you can decide and you need to know that. But for a baseline, I think it's responsible to realize that. Get your things done that you need to first before any leisure time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where you can fully immerse, because then you just let that drag on, you don't know when to put a stop to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just more stress. You can't even fully enjoy it because it's like, still got things to do. Got to make this short, whatever. But structure your day out. Regain control of your Mondays.
Regain control
of your entire, and that'll replicate itself across your week, and that'll give you some kind of sanity. That'll give you something to look forward to, because now you're like, I got structure here. Yeah. I'm not lost on a Monday. I'm no longer being dragged by the Monday, by my workplace, by whatever. I got things that I need to get done, and I'm happy that I'm able to get them done.
Exactly.
Yep. Just like that.
Just like that, guys. So if this helped you, feel free to share it to someone. Give it a like, comment, subscribe.
Review.
All the things that we appreciate you to do. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. So have a great day.
Bye, guys.